Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 140 of the Childless Not by Choice podcast. My name is Civilla Morgan. My mission is to recognize and speak to the childless not by choice women and men around the world, reminding us, that we can live joyful, relevant, fulfilled, childless not by choice lives. And whether you have children or not, thank you for tuning in. What is today's show about? Hiding in plain sight. You've heard that term before. I kind of feel like I coined it, but I could be wrong. Maybe you heard it from somebody else. But I do recall just talking about that fact for us, many of us, especially in different parts of the world, where as childless not by choice people, we tend to hide in plain sight. So hiding in plain sight. During the Mother's Day season, as you may notice, I did not post the first part of May like I usually do for Mother's Day. And if I had guests, like I did last year, or a guest, I would have had it posted for the first of the month. But because this year, this month, this is just me, it's a monologue, I decided to just post it at its regular third week of the month time. So that's what I'm hoping for as I record the week before it's supposed to air. And then I'll be sending it to my podcast producer. I appreciate him so much for his patience with me, always changing things around. He's an awesome podcast producer. Thanks, Rob. I also want to thank my patrons. You have your credit card or debit card or whatever it is you're doing debited regularly, monthly. And I appreciate that. And I appreciate you for doing that, for giving a portion of your finances to this platform. It is truly appreciated. And if you would like to become a patron, please feel free to visit patreon.com/childless not by choice to become one of the patrons of the Childless Not by Choice podcast and platform. If you prefer to just give once in a while or whenever you feel like it, you don't want to be held to a monthly debit of your card, feel free to visit booksbycivillamorgan@gmail.com at PayPal. Just go into PayPal, go to booksbycivillamorgan@gmail.com. Before I get into the episode too much, I want to read something that I posted. By the time you're hearing this would have been a couple of weeks ago on Mother's Day here in the US, which is May 8th. So let me read this. This is what I posted the weekend of Mother's Day, basically, May 2022. And I say, I've been podcasting about the childless not by choice experience for almost 7 years. It is one of the most fulfilling things I have done to make sure that those of us who are childless not by choice, childless due to circumstance, even childless by choice, are recognized as human beings first, not by the fact that we couldn't or wouldn't. Society has tried to make us feel less than, because that is what society does. If we do not fall in line with the status quo, we are ignored, shunned, shushed, allowed to fall through the cracks. My continued hope, although it sometimes seems bleak, is that as human beings who consider ourselves living in a civilized 21st century, we would acknowledge that everyone is on a different journey. As I say regularly, not every woman is at the Saturday morning soccer or Little League or any sports practice. And if you are, be thankful for your gift and always remember it did not have to happen that way. You could have been one of the 20% who could not have a child. Remember to be kind and self-aware this Mother's Day and every day. Happy Mother's Day to all you wonderful moms who are giving life every day to your children, your nieces and nephews, your grandchildren, your students, and whomever you pour into. You are a blessing. Unquote. So that's what I posted on social media. I posted it on my personal Facebook page, and I posted it in the Childless Not by Choice with Civilla Morgan Facebook page, which is a page for women only who are childless not by choice. And remember, there's also the supporters of Civilla Morgan Facebook group, and that's for everyone, whether you have children or not, men or women, anyone who wants to join the community that way. But I have decided and continue to feel that there should be a separate page for women only. Women only voices who are childless not by choice, and that's why I did that. So again, this year I decided not to concentrate so much on Mother's Day, but instead to concentrate on how those of us who are childless not by choice show up in this world, especially around days like Mother's Day. I would be remiss if I did not wish those listeners who are moms a happy Mother's Day, as I just did in my quote. And of course, a very happy Mother's Day to our own moms, whether they are still with us or not. As many of you know, my mom, my best friend ever, my favorite person ever, passed the week of Mother's Day 2019. So as of this recording, my mom would have passed 2 days ago, 3 years ago. And I miss her so much. I will be honest, I still cry myself to sleep some nights. Her birthday is at the end of March 30th, but I promise you, as soon as February hits, my whole outlook on life changes. It's like the world dims a little. The sky just goes a little less blue. And that's February. Then her birthday is in March, and I make it through her birthday, April 30th. And then, once April comes, I'm fine again. And then comes May. The first week of May is Mother's Day, and all the celebration starts. And then that's when I get hit with the fact that she left this world a couple of days before Mother's Day, and then you got to deal with the Mother's Day posts. And this year, I'm not on social media so much. Usually I'll have a Zoom. I've done that in the past, done a Zoom with some of the ladies in our Childless Not by Choice Facebook group, or I'll do a video to remind everyone to be kind, etc., etc. But this year, I just don't feel like it. I'm just not going to do it. And I know sometimes we have to push through and do certain things. And then there are other times when, no, I'm just not going to push through. And I've decided not to do that this year and not post anything. After I finish recording today, I'm not trying to put a downer on the whole episode, but I'm actually going to head down to the cemetery because I know it's going to be filled with flowers, and just go down there and just make sure that area where she's buried is cleared and clean, and, I used to put fresh, real flowers in, but now I just get some fake stuff. Just replace them every once in a while and just go and see how things are down there. So that's where I'm headed today. Then enjoy the rest of my day as I see fit. So some years, every year can't be the same. It won't be the same. You just kind of do what's best for you. It's not selfish to do that. I keep reminding you and me, it's not selfish to do that, to just do what's best for you sometimes. And there are going to be people who understand and people who do not, but that's okay. They'll all be okay. Everybody's going to be just fine. So anyway, that's that. And, as I said, I miss her immensely because I loved shopping for my mom. She was so easy to shop for. It was a scarf or a brooch or even just her favorite thing. She loved pizza. I mean, she was good with a pizza. So anyway, those were the days. That time is gone now. I know I will see her again. And happy Heavenly Mother's Day, Mommy. I love you and miss you. I would also like to say Happy Mother's Day, Mexico, because Mother's Day, Mexico is on May 10th. So it's May 8th here in the US and the 10th in Mexico. So if anyone's listening from Mexico, Happy Mother's Day. And if you are childless not by choice in Mexico, we see you, we hear you, and we care about you. I hope that you can find this episode somehow or this podcast. And if anyone has friends in Mexico, please be sure to tell them about this podcast. And if your mom is still here and you are able to reach out, please try to do so. I know some relationships are frayed and there's conflict and, all the things that happen in life. And I get it. So I'll leave that to you, but just try to enjoy your day as best as you can. So again, either way, this time around, this episode is for those of us who are childless not by choice during the month of May, around Mother's Day. Those of us who may be hiding in plain sight or may be deciding to do something different on Mother's Day, as I mentioned earlier. In fact, one of the ladies in our Facebook group for women only, the Childless Not by Choice with Civilla Morgan Facebook group, she asked the question several days ago what everyone was doing, to get through Mother's Day. And the responses were varied. And I really loved that she asked the question. I love engagement in the group, and I leave it open for you to post whatever you want to. I have not run into before I shouldn't say that. There are times when we've had to maybe remove a post or two, but it doesn't happen very often because I think it's really cool how this happens, but it seems like everybody gets it. Everybody that's in that group gets what should be posted, what shouldn't be. And so I don't remember, maybe twice, 3 times over the years that I've had to lovingly remove something. Or one of the lovely ladies that manages the group just like I do. They will remove. It's not always me. And so I have 4, I think it's 4 of us, 4 plus me. The admin, that's the word I'm looking for. The admin, the group. So we are also on the same page, and we've seldom had to remove anything. Anyway, I'm digressing. This one woman asked, what everybody's doing, and everybody responded. I responded. And I try to stand back sometimes and let everybody respond and just watch the posts and try not to be in everything because, I want everybody to feel free to post. And so I try to stand back a lot. But this one, I responded as well. And again, I loved that she asked the question, and I loved seeing all the responses. And some responses included spending time with their own mothers, some of the women, or celebrating the mothers in their lives. And I posted that I had stopped going to church on Mother's Day several years ago, and then I started going with my mom to honor her. But now that she's gone, I just don't go. I just, some people are okay with it. Some years it seems like churches are on the ball and they get, it's wonderful to celebrate mothers, but try to celebrate all women. And some years it seems like they're like, it's all about the mothers. If you're not a mom, forget you. That's the kind of feeling I get sometimes. And so I don't want to have to be in the midst of it. And so I just don't go to church. I may watch online, but I just don't go. I know I've been on this journey for many years. I know that I'm leading and running a whole platform for childless, not by choice women. But I'm going to read you a quote at the end of this episode that I think will help you understand why I'm just not completely healed and all set to go and I can be anywhere at any time. No, I'm not going to pretend. I'm just not going to. If I don't feel it, I'm just not going. It doesn't make me less of a church girl or a believer. It just means that that's just something that's not working for me. And I am praying for the day that all churches all around the world where Mother's Day is celebrated, that they will come to the understanding that it's wonderful to celebrate moms. We're not jealous of moms. We don't hate moms. That's a harsh word, but that's not what it's about. It's just that there's a discomfort that seems to be ignored sometimes in some churches. And I'd just rather not be a part of it because I want to get to the day where churches realize that there are women sitting in your pews who are crying on the inside. They dare not shed a tear on the outside because then they would be seen as jealous or why can't you just get over it already? Or what's the matter with you? All the things that people do to shame us and make us feel less than. And as I said in my quote, shushed and shunned, all of those things, they shouldn't be in the church pews. But unfortunately, as a believer, and I'm not changing, I am a believer, but as a believer, and I'm so digressing and I'm so not going to stop, but as a believer, there are times in the church. I'm not talking about my church or your church, the church. There are times in the church where things could be better. It just could be. And I think Mother's Day is one of those things. And I'm going to keep asking and reaching out from the mountaintops and the rooftops with this podcast globally and asking the church to do a little bit better, figure something out when it comes to Mother's Day. And hey, I'm here if you have questions. I'm here. But anyway, I did divert a little bit, but I stand by what I say. I'm not trying to, like I said, make anyone feel bad or disrespect anyone, but we do exist. We may be hiding in plain sight, but we do exist. How do you want to treat us? That's the question. So, when I think about hiding in plain sight, I think about those puzzles that some of us may have done as children. The kind of Where's Waldo type puzzles. And some of you may know about Where's Waldo, and some of you may be in a part of the world where you're like, who is Waldo? But there are these puzzles where they hide things. They hide a subject within a picture, and then they surround the subject with all manner of things. And then you have to try to find the subject of the picture. And that's kind of what Where's Waldo is. It's just like a brain teaser. It strengthens your brain and your memory muscle and all of that stuff. There are good little puzzles. I do a lot of puzzles. I have a couple of them on my iPhone, and I do them daily just to keep my brain fresh and going. And I think they're a great thing to do. But I feel like sometimes that as childless, not by choice people, we are hidden inside of this puzzle, and we are either being searched for or not. But the puzzle is there, and we're staring right back at you from the puzzle, but you don't see us. And that's what I think happens when we are at a party or a family gathering. We're there, you can see us, but we're not really there. And it may not be intentional, but the fact is, if there are parents, especially young parents at the gathering, or, younger family members are at the gathering, the question automatically goes to the parent. How is the kid doing in school? Are they behaving? Are they thriving? How are things going? Those are the questions that we ask because we care. I care. I care about the younger people in my family. I care about what's going on in their lives. But we have to know, if you think about it, not a whole lot may be said to those of us who don't have any children when there's a family gathering. We're just kind of there. Maybe we are a caregiver for an elderly family member, and that's our role. That's how we're known. There's not much else to us. And it doesn't feel good all the time. And if you don't join the Q&A, then you can be viewed as uncaring. So you just try to fall in line and go with the flow. And like I said, it's not because you don't care about the person. Of course you do. And of course you want to know what's going on. But you kind of feel like you kind of have to join the Q&A, question and answer, so that people don't get offended. Meanwhile, you may get a question or two about how are you doing? How are you? How is life? How is work? Where have you gone lately? Which is kind of tough to do a lot of times when you are a caregiver, by the way. But the bottom line is you do run the risk of being ignored if you have not made a contribution to carrying on the family line. You've probably experienced this. Someone asks, do you have kids, or how many kids do you have? And when you respond that you do not have kids, the conversation goes silent. There's a little discomfort. And then you kind of each amble away from each other and look for someone else to talk to that you may have more in common with. I see it all the time, and I just kind of giggle on the inside. It's like, it doesn't even have to be this way. It doesn't have to be. There's got to be something we can talk about in common. But you kind of have to want to find out what it is about that person. And chances are, if you're at the same gathering, you have that in common. Why are you both at the same gathering? You've got to have something to talk about. And then, what about the commentary about you being made to work late because you don't have kids and your coworker does? The commentaries are made without thought to our plans, because if our plans do not include children, are they real plans? Are they really plans? Could you just put it off for another time? Could you change your schedule because you don't have kids? And again, children are important. They need to live and be safe and to thrive. They are the next generation. But does that mean that our life gets put on hold or completely dashed away because we don't have children? Our plans don't mean anything ever? That's not the life we were meant to live. We're not living the life we thought we would live, but changing plans, changing schedules, staying late because you don't have children. No. That's not the life that we were meant to live. And I want to remind you of that. As I've said before, I don't think I can ever say it too much. We have to make sure our coworkers and family members, the people in our lives, realize and recognize our kind but firm boundaries. And I know as a caregiver, if any of you are caregivers, it's tough. Sometimes the boundary gets a little fuzzy because you want to make sure that the person you're caring for is well, and they may have needs and kind of have to back burner sometimes, not all the time. Sometimes your need for what they need. Maybe they need to get to a doctor's appointment. Maybe they would like something different to eat sometimes. Maybe something's going on with them. Whatever. There are times where the caregiving can kind of fuzzy, but never allow it to deteriorate your kind but firm boundaries. It's a fine line, it's a thin line, but maintain your kind but firm boundaries at all costs. And if you have to go back and change something because a boundary was overstepped, then feel free to do it. Don't tell yourself, oh, well, I guess maybe next time. No, you can change your mind. You are just as legitimate and human and worthy as anyone else. And you are allowed to change your mind because trust me, I can tell you, I'm not asking you. I'm telling you, these very same people have changed their minds on you. So it's okay to change your mind. Also be willing, and I've said this in previous episodes, be willing to make other plans when family, friends, coworkers refuse to respect you as a childless person. You can make other plans. You don't always have to show up at the family gathering. It's nice to. You should show up a few times. Sometimes they are your family. You do have to show up sometimes, but you don't have to do it begrudgingly. Show up because those are the people you love. You want to be there for them, but we don't need the mental and emotional abuse, especially if we have already discussed the behavior with our family members. Make sure you make time for you. And I know it's much easier to hide in plain sight, to lay low, to go with the flow, than to quote unquote rock the boat at work or in the family during the holidays or on Mother's Day. But I have to ask you, what would your life be like if you made decisions, good, healthy decisions about the direction of your own life? What would happen if you told your coworker or boss that although you would generally stay behind, you do actually have plans? What would your life be like? Think about those things. Think on those things. It takes practice. I'm not gonna tell you that it's easy and you're not gonna have little maybe run-ins with family members. I'm not promoting family member run-ins, okay? I'm not promoting that. I'm promoting the fact that you need to make sure that you're taking care of yourself, even if you are caring for someone else, even if you're part of a family that doesn't seem to get it. You still have to care for yourself, and you can do it little by little by little. Care for yourself. Create those kind but firm boundaries. Do something for yourself every once in a while, and know that you're worthy, because you know what? Whether you do something for yourself or not, whether you create the kind but firm boundaries, whether you speak up for yourself and defend yourself when you need to, life is passing by. It's going by. It's not going to go slower for you because your child is not by choice, or because you're letting certain things go, or because you can't create those kind but firm boundaries. Life is passing by, and it's going by at the same rate for all of us, although I would tell you that sometimes it seems like it's going by really, really fast. It's passing by. So you have a choice to make, and I hope that you're making the choice that's best for you and your family and friends and coworkers. You can do all of it. Yes, you can. And like I said, it may be slow at first, slow going, but do the right thing for you before life passes you by and you find out one day that, you know what? I never got to do this. I never got to go there. I never got to read this. I skipped that play. I missed this. Don't do that to yourself. Really sit down with yourself today as you're listening to this episode. Make a list of things that you've done and a list of things that you'd like to do. And I always say writing it down is the first step. If it stays in your head, it's not going to get done. It's not going to. So sit down with yourself today. Make a list of things you have done, things you would like to do, and then see about getting those things done. What do you need to do? How much PTO, paid time off, do you need to have to make this happen, or go here or do that? How much notice do you have to give to a family member to help you if you're caring for someone? They may not like it, but they'll be okay. And so will you. Before I leave you today, I want to read you something that really spoke to me. I saw this quote on Twitter near the end of April, and I'm telling you, I read and reread it several times. And then I asked permission to share it, and I'm so glad she said yes. Quote, I no longer long for the Jody that could have had kids. We're of equal value. We must stop thinking that the highest form of a woman is a mother. We are not, quote unquote, others. We're part of society. You have nothing to be ashamed about. You've done nothing wrong by being childless. You are nothing wrong by being childless. You never completely get over, quote unquote, get over childlessness. It's not a broken leg, but it is possible to heal around it. Not having a family broke my heart. Some may think that's melodramatic, but I know it's true. However, grieving that loss and the life I longed for healed my heart, leaving it bigger than it was before." Unquote. And that quote was taken from Jodie Day's interview in Ireland's Southern Star newspaper. So that quote is by Jodie Day. And I'm telling you, I read that quote, I reread it, and then I said, wow, that's me. That's where I am. That's where I want to be. And that's where I want you to be. Not rushing you, but I want you to start heading in that general direction, and you will get there. And I think about the episode that I did a couple episodes ago with Awakening Worth, the episode Awakening Worth podcast. This made me think of that episode as well. I want you to head in that general direction. I always want you to be headed in that general direction of being whole and worthy to be seen and not to be hiding in plain sight. Until next time, thanks for listening.